Well, she's a YouTube account associated with her Barron County account, so she can do live streaming with her Barron County friend. You go to your car.
Okay, we are live.
Thank you.
We're calling a Finance Committee meeting to order on Thursday, June 25th, 2020 in the Board of Commissioners room, and we have a roll call, please.
Commissioner Yarbrough,
Present.
Commissioner Harrison,
Here.
Commissioner Hinkleman,
Here.
Commissioner Scott,
Present.
Thank you. And I'd like to know who else is here.
Christopher Quattro, Barron County Drain Commissioner.
Thank you.
Brian Doucette, County Administrator.
Thank you.
Todd Rainey, Motor Pool.
Okay.
Doug James, Financial Services.
All right.
And then in the room also you have Chris Swihart, Mamie, and you have Jason and Carrie with the road department.
Okay.
And in a minute, it looks like Ken Hoffman will also be on here.
Ken Hoffman?
Yep.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. And Annette Christie. Thank the Lord. Thank you.
Thanks, Mamie.
We will start this by approval of the minutes. Are you going to run the meeting?
Pardon?
You will call the roll for each of the items for me? Okay.
Yep.
May I have a motion, please, to approve the minutes of June 25th?
I move approval of the minutes of June 25th. This is Commissioner Harrison.
Thank you.
Commissioner Scott will second.
Okay. It's been properly moved and supported. Are there any corrections or additions? Would you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Yarbrough,
Yes.
Commissioner Harrison,
Yes.
Commissioner Hinkleman,
Yes.
Commissioner Scott.
Yes.
It passes. Thank you. Our next item is road department bid approval, motion verbiage. County Administrator Brian Doucette.
Yeah, so
What
Madam
color's
Chair.
what color's your shirt, or where are you?
Oh,
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, because your faces are covered, so I don't know who's talking. Thank you.
no problem. So the county staff has worked to prepare some motion language that we believe should remedy some of the concerns that came from the Board of Commissioners as it relates to the road department's recent projects. Our intent today was just to walk you through that motion language and discuss whether or not this would satisfy the committee members.
Okay.
And ma'am, do you have that motion language in front of you?
I do.
Okay. How would you like to proceed?
I would like for you to explain it to us. I'd like for you to, not just in the motion, not reading the motion necessarily, but to tell us what this will accomplish. That's what
Okay.
we're to have, an agreeable and understood motion.
Hold on 1 second. We're just closing some doors to control noise.
Okay.
All right, so I'm going to ask Annette and Doug to assist on this. The two of them work together to edit the language that's in front of you. Do either of you want to go first, or?
sure. So in the memo that I sent out to you guys, I gave you a little bit of background as to how we arrived at to the verbiage that we were using. The first one, which is for all other departments, was pretty much the one we had been using all along. And the second one was then for the road department bid openings. And so, originally when we did this, the purpose was to move some things a little bit forward, a little bit faster, so that they're not having to come back. And so, the first one, which was the regular one, the regular bid opening motion that we used for regular departments or other departments besides the road department, sorry, not regular. And all along, I think you guys have been okay with a department moving forward with the lowest bid, as long as they met specifications and requirements, which is what the verbiage said. I think there was a general understanding that if they didn't go with the lowest bid, they would come back to you guys, but and just to try to make this very, very clear so everybody understood it, on the regular motion for non-road department, I added a sentence there about communication from the department must be submitted to finance committee in the event that they want to move forward with a bidder that's not the lowest bidder. That communication, I suppose, is going to be for you guys to decide as finance, whether you want somebody to come back and make an in-person presentation to you as to why, or if you would be satisfied with an email, perhaps it could be as simple as that. For the road department bids, and I worked with Jason and Doug both on that, and that was a little confusing. We kind of worked through that process after we took over the road department to try to see what would work for their workflow as well as what we needed on our end. And so with that one, we had a couple of different conversations about them being able to move forward with the best qualified bid. And that question has come up a couple of different times. So in the verbiage that we've provided to you, and with the discussions that we've had, we would remove that line from there and add also the similar line to their motion verbiage that says that the communication from the road department must be submitted if they wanted to move forward with somebody who wasn't the lowest bid. And I think we had a conversation with Jason earlier this week that we would have that conversation in finance, or we would have an email to finance before anybody was notified of any kind of bid awards or that kind of thing. And so we put those before you and hoping that would remedy the problems that we've been having with that approval.
Okay, thank you. And that, Doug James, do you want to talk to that? Where are you? Where are you? Thank you.
The bright blue shirt.
Yes, thank you. It's small, I can't see.
I am in agreement with what has been put forth here. The portion that I wanted to make sure that we had in there, that it would be that they are a approved responsible bidder. We have certain conditions we have in place around purchasing and procurement, around grants that say you can't be on an excluded parties list, you have to hold a valid tax ID, so forth and so on.
Okay.
And in order to be an approved bidder or a responsible bidder or vendor, they have to comply with that. So that really for me would be if someone comes in and bids really low, however, they're on the federal excluded parties list, we can't do business with them, then that's one of the reasons why we would reject that particular bid and go with a higher bidder. But they should let you know that as well in the process. But I wanted to make sure that language was in there as well so it was clearly understood. The form of communication that comes back to you can either be in the form of an email. We did change the bid form, that one-page form, to be able to make notation at the bottom of it.
Okay.
That if they didn't go with the lowest bidder, they tell you why. And
Okay.
that may be part of the form that you could use, or email, whichever you folks would choose. And that's all I got.
Good.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
this is Brian Dissett. Just one other point of clarification. In the future, if we are going through essentially a design process, staff did discuss with the road department about the use of essentially a request for qualification as opposed to just a request for a bid. Now, the request for qualification process is a little different than bidding, but it's also far more rare. And what we discussed is if the road department is in need of a request for qualification, what we will do is bring that RFQ document to the Finance Committee prior to releasing it out onto the street. That way the Finance Committee, the board is aware of the process. They have an opportunity to offer input into the RFQ document. And then when we do bring back the proposals, at that time, it won't surprise any of the elected officials.
That's good. Jason, do you have any comment to this?
So yeah, this is great. I just wanted to say thanks, Annette, for putting that together. That was a nice memo that kind of covered a lot of the information and how we got to where we are now. And I think that certainly this is a good process once we go through the bidding. If we're not selecting low bid, absolutely, we're more than happy to come back for further approval and justification from finance. That works out great.
And then I would like to ask the committee members, do you have other things you'd like to see, or is this acceptable? Will this work for us?
This is Commissioner Harrison. I'm comfortable with the language as proposed.
Okay. Commissioner
Madam
Hayes?
Chair,
Yes, Commissioner
Madam
Scott?
Chair, Commissioner Scott,
Yes.
the only thing that I would like to see changed is in the yellow where it says communication from the department must be submitted, and then communication from the road department must be submitted. I would like that changed to shall, because shall is definite. It means there's no ambiguity. That's exactly the way the process works.
Okay.
That's the difference in the word must and shall and all of that. You don't want to leave any gray area at all.
Okay, so shall is like it will be, there's no doubt.
Right, exactly. So take out the word must and put in the word shall.
Okay, shall. Commissioner Hinkleman?
I am comfortable as well, Madam Chair, with the way it's been presented. And if the verbiage changes from must to shall, that's perfectly appropriate. And I will, that's perfectly appropriate with me.
Good, good. As I listen, I have a couple of things. When you talk about an email, I would like, if it was done by email, I would like for it to come from administrator dissect. That means that he knows, that he agrees, and this is what he recommends happens. Or if it's, I don't want to do anything to hold this up, but if it's where we're going to meet again in a couple of days and he wants to come and make a presentation to us to tell us verbally, that would be okay. But if it's an email, I'd like for it to come from the administrator. Then I wonder, is the $5,000 enough? Should it be 10,000? That's what I want you all to think about. It should, if it's over, if he chooses to go with another, vendor, should it be a higher rate for the to move it?
Madam Chair, Annette's got some feedback to offer to you.
Yes.
So commissioners, the reason for that $5,000 that we associated with contract modifications, that doesn't have anything to do with the original bid approval. What that is that if they're in the middle of a project, and Jason can confirm this, if they're in the middle of a project and there has to be a contract modification made, the reason we put that in there is because the administrator had the spending authority up to $5,000, and so right. that is what that does. That was also done in an effort to try to make it so that they're not having to come back another time to do a contract modification if it's within that spending range. And then the other part of that we talked about a little bit was that the reason that we're doing the contract associated with that is because normally a contract has to come to you in a resolution. And so because we know the contracts are gonna be associated with every single one of these bidded projects, this just lets them go ahead with that versus coming back to resolution to say, yes, we wanna do a contract and then getting it signed. It alleviates like 3 weeks of delay when we put that part in the motion. That's why that's there.
Okay, I thank you, and I'm aware when we first did it and had a different amount, the administrator said, this is more than I can spend. And so we worked on it. The one thing that I want to, I don't know that it has to be added here, but I'd like for it to be understood. When we do that RFP, to send it out for bids, please, when the bids come to be open, have that sheet there, give us a copy of it, because we don't remember what what you thought it was going to be or whatever. I'd like to ask that one sheet be given to us when we're at the bid opening, so that we'll have that. And then I would like to ask, because my memory is good, and I want to say that if there is a difference of $5,000, $5,000 or up, that the finance committee be made known what the contract is. I've signed contracts and things before, but you don't know what it is. You're just initialing paper with a yellow reminder on it. So help us to understand and to, give us better understanding of what it is we're signing, what it is we're approving. Because I don't want to do anything to hold up anything. So, Administrator, are you satisfied with this motion?
I am. I think it makes sense. It provides clarity to staff, and I think that the motion is ready.
Okay. And what do we do? It's a resolution or something we have to accept and bring to the whole board?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, today? Is it for today?
Like the motion, your resolution? Is that what you said?
I don't think it's on today.
No, I thought that they were just doing this in finance we just needed.
That would be fine.
We did, Madam Chair,
Yes?
when we took over the road department, I was on the finance department. And when we came up with the verbiage and the language, that was approved in the finance committee, and it did not go before the full board.
Okay. Thank you.
I know we have a policy already on purchasing, and I think that all this is this would fall under committee business, if I'm correct. Is that correct, Annette? Did I understand that correctly before?
Yeah, your bid approvals and things like that are all underneath of that.
Correct. Yeah, so it does not have to go, I don't think it has to go before the full board unless that's the pleasure of this committee for it to go before the full board.
No,
I think,
yes.
Madam Chair, this is Commissioner Hinkleman. I
Yes.
think that some of the concerns that were out there in the full board. They wanted to, at least maybe what was said and what was heard were two different things. What I heard is that they were concerned that this process perhaps be accepted right at the finance committee. So however you choose to move forward, if you're going to, you may want to give the board at least time to comment on it, the other people at the board level to comment on it, so that we know that the reasons why as well. It's been explained to me perfectly thoroughly, and I feel I'm very comfortable with it. But I got the impression from some of the other board members that they weren't at peace with perhaps an email notification on the reasons why. But these are things that, like I said, I would just give them some time, as long as you're not approving it today. In your explanation today, when you talk about committee business, perhaps you can just tell them, and if they've got comments, get back with you.
Okay. And then we would still approve it within our, if they don't have any changes, approve it within our committee? Is that what, next week or something?
If that's what's appropriate. If it's appropriate to do it, and that's what protocols suggest, that we should do it in committee, but you may want to give them time to comment, because they were, I think, well, I noticed there were comments coming from other people. And like I said, I'm perfectly comfortable moving forward, but I want to make sure that email notification is enough for them as well, because they may feel differently than I feel.
Thank you. And I remember that in that they said, well, I thought it was, and it was the basic, the basic approval that we do. And so this explanation to them would be good. One thing came to me, Commissioner Meeks wanted to be included in this. Did Annette give him the ability to click into Zoom?
I'm trying to get it to him, yes.
Madam Chair,
Yes. Who's
I'd like
talking?
to suggest just an idea for this committee's consideration. What I'd like to do is take the feedback that we've received on the motion language. I'll edit the document. I'll then send it out to the full board just to give them an opportunity to see the language. And then at your next finance committee meeting, at that time, ask the committee to consider a motion to ratify that language.
Thank you. Thank you. And the
Okay.
comments you're talking about are what we just said here.
Yep,
Yes. Thank you so much.
no problem.
Yes. And then what I was asking you about Commissioner Meeks.
Yes, I'm trying to get I guess I thought he was watching it on YouTube. I guess I didn't get him the Zoom information, but I'm sending it to them. I'm trying to get it to him right now.
Brian,
Yes.
you agree with that, moving that from months to short?
Yeah, that's fine.
Our next, is that, are you all satisfied? Have we talked about this enough?
Yes,
Yes,
I,
I
Okay.
am.
Thank you, Administrator. That's a blessing. So now we'll go to the resolutions.
Yeah,
Let me just look into
the next item, ma'am, is an update from the motor pool.
Okay. Because I'm trying to find my agenda.
read for me, so she knows where you're at.
Yes,
Yeah.
please.
Hey,
Here I
you
am.
see him?
Yes,
Hey, Todd, if you want to slide over here, I'll give you my seat and you can.
I can move that this time.
the Automotive Fleet Manager.
Yep, he's right, he's here, he's standing up right now, you see him?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Todd Rainey, thank you. Please, make a report.
Yes, we have had a problems with some trucks lately for the building and grounds. We have 3 of them that are unsafe and needing replacement. So the recommendation that we're making is to buy 3 animal control trucks, replace those, give those to the building and grounds crew so they can continue with their services that they need to do. I talked with Brian on it, and he's willing to discuss this further with the board, and so we're here to get permission to take a Michigan bid pricing for these new trucks and hopefully get them this year rather than next year. With all the inventory disruptions that are happening in Detroit and stuff, that is our recommendations.
Okay. And I saw that where it said there were 2 trucks, and rather than going out for bid, that we could use my deal. Is that,
That's correct.
that's what we're talking about? Would you-
Yes.
Thank you. And Administrator, you agree with that?
Yeah. So I'm gonna just stand in the corner. The reason I wanted the committee having this discussion is there's a few things that we need to consider. We've got the animal control trucks that need to be acquired. We need to discuss whether or not to use the my bid process or to put these out to local bidders. And then next, we need to have a conversation about sheriff department vehicles that are scheduled for next year. At its core, my concern, the reason that I wanted Todd talking with you all today is really just the supply chain. I may be more nervous than I need to be. Typically, if we place an order within about 2 months, those trucks are arriving, and Todd and his team are able to set them up and then get them out onto the road.
Yes.
The bidding environment right now is a little bit goofy. Just in the last week, the UAW and the governor's office were kind of sparring back and forth on the potential for plant closures tied to the COVID-19 pandemic. At this moment, if we were to order these trucks, more than likely you'll have them in a little over 2 months. My concern really is just making sure that this committee is aware that that bidding environment could become more strained for these trucks as well as the upcoming round of law enforcement vehicles. There's no immediate emergency, but I just wanted to get the conversation started with the committee. For today, there's a series of to-do items. Number one, do you wish to authorize Todd to move forward with the animal control trucks? Number two, are you comfortable with Todd putting these out to purchase just using the My Bid process, or would you prefer that we go through a bidding process? Then number three, we need to have a conversation about upcoming law enforcement vehicles, and do we wish to start that bidding process earlier than originally planned, just to ensure that we've got quotes in hands to move forward with those vehicles. I know that's a lot to digest, but that's why we're here today and Todd's in the room.
Okay. Comments, commissioners?
Commissioner Scott, the only thing that I would ask is I was very comfortable when we had gone through the road department deal with My Deal.
Sure.
I was very comfortable with that because all of this My Deal, if you happen to remember, is everybody gets a chance to bid on the My Deal.
Correct.
And they do. What I don't like is going out for bid against My Deal, because then it gives a losing bidder to My Deal a second bite at the apple. To me, that doesn't seem fair, because the deals we've been able to get, if I'm correct, for the squad cars and the SUVs and that, has been the best, if I remember correctly, because we ended up buying, what, we had to buy 3 vehicles, remember when we had to buy the 3 vehicles because we could get one heck of a deal on them before the new models came out or something.
Yeah.
So I'm in complete support of using the My Deal. My only question is this a projected in budget thing, or is this not a budget item?
This is not a budget item.
This is not a budget item for either?
This is not a budget item for, this is, okay, the sheriff's vehicles are would be a budget item for 2021.
Right.
The animal control trucks, we have 1 truck budgeted for 2020. The other 2 would not be a budgeted item.
Okay, that's all I wanted to find out, whether or not it was.
Other 3.
Sorry, other 3, yeah.
All right, that was my only question. And then, so where is that money coming from? That's my questions, okay? I'll yield.
And just to follow up on that, the reason that we're having the conversation about accelerating these truck purchases is Todd is our expert. He's brought to our attention that safety concern could be looming. And Todd, can you just give the committee an update on?
Yeah, the trucks that need to be replaced range from 185,000 to 260. And these trucks are getting very corroded and rusted.
That's for all 3.
That's the 3 that need to be replaced, yes.
Right, that's not each. Each truck is 120 to?
No, 184,000, 240,
Mile.
and 280.
All right. Oh, I'm sorry. I was talking money, you're talking mileage, and I'm like, what is the difference?
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And one of those is a 1993 Chevy truck, so you can imagine what shape that's in.
Yeah, okay.
So the problem comes to when safety concerns is the frames and suspension get so rusted they won't, Michigan pothole can knock one of them right off the road.
Okay.
And Jason's gone. He's off the Zoom, so he can't hear us.
It's not on him. So,
all right.
And so go back. I saw a paper and it had two vehicles and one vehicle. So we're really talking about, say the other, a total of,
Three vehicles.
oh, okay, that's what I saw. Okay. And the ones that are already here, you would give to the road, to the ground, building and grounds, and have a new truck to replace it to.
Well, yes, they would not have a new truck, but they would all have 100 to 160,000 on them. The
Okay,
ones that the building and grounds would get. So they're not getting brand new ones, they're getting slightly used.
right, okay. Other questions, commissioners?
So let me understand, so the ones that building and grounds would get still have 160 or so miles on them?
That's
Correct.
correct.
Okay, you're just newer, but they've got a lot more mileage.
Got a lot of highway miles on them.
And my deal is, when we've looked at it before, it's always been the best deal. So I'm fine not going out for bids. So either,
Can I
Yes.
throw something in?
Yes.
With regard to this? Because the mine deal, I understand that is a state price, that's a state negotiated price. That does not give those folks who have bid on my deal tend to be those of a larger volume. Local dealers probably aren't going to go and bid on my deal because of the size of their business. So do you intentionally, if I may, exclude the local dealers from the bidding process from them having an opportunity? If we exclude them, your local, I suspect your local deals are going to be calling either you or the commissioners or the administrator,
okay,
asking why they didn't get a shot.
okay.
And
Can I jump in real
that's what
quick?
I'm going to interject.
In the past,
Say your name.
Hello, this is Jason Latham, Director of the Berrien County Road Department. How are you?
Good,
Can you
thank
hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear.
So real quick, Doug brought that point up the other day when we were talking. So I ran that scenario by my team. And Doug, the exact issue that you're bringing up came up at a road commission meeting probably 3 or 4 years ago. So our superintendent and a road commissioner went to several dealers and asked them, you know, how come they're not on my deal? And those dealerships basically said that they really can't compete with that price. There's no reason for them to be on it because they'd have to supply vehicles to, at the time, road commission for a price where it's not worth their while. They just can't make any money. So we ran that by. They're not excluded. They can get on my deal if they want, but they're really giving it away at cost. So they're not really making money. And Doug, you're right. It is those large dealerships that are just moving volumes of vehicles. That's why my deal gives that really great price. So we did run through that. Not we, I wasn't here, but those discussions were had. And really what it comes down to is kind of what Commissioner Scott was talking about is competitively bid and getting the best price you can get. So that was it. Just wanted to interject just because we had some personal experience with it.
We need to know.
Okay, Todd, sorry. Now you can go. It's green. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, in the past, we've submitted bids to the local dealers, and last year we didn't receive a one back.
Okay,
So they were not really interested in selling to us.
or able to meet it. They knew they couldn't meet the price. So what do you want to do, commissioners? I would like to go with my deal.
What
What is it?
Service. Pardon me?
Couldn't hear you. it's making music.
Oh, I'm sorry. I've got a sign flashing across the screen. This is Commissioner Hinkleman that says my connection's unstable, so I'm sorry for that. Is there any problem with whatever service we need when we go with My Deal? If it turns out that we buy vehicles from somebody that is very distant from us, do the other people, when that is under warranty, do they honor the warranties? Is that a concern for us, or is that not a concern?
No, it has not been a concern for us. Typically, for service, they may not get us in right away, but no, the service is always complete, and legally, they have to do it.
Okay,
Utilizing My Deal, and if the interest of time, I'm also perfectly comfortable to expedite the sheriff's vehicles and to do that sooner rather than later, based on the fact that time, because of current situation current situation in the world is what it is.
yes,
This is Commissioner Harrison. I agree with Commissioner Hinkleman.
good. I do too. I'd like to see us put them all in, because what price they say, that's the price they have to sell them to us for?
That's correct.
Okay, because you already have prices through My Deal for the 3 trucks.
Yes, I do.
Right, okay. I would like to see us get all the ones that we need, so that if they do go on strike or there's some few left, we would get it and it would be done. Because
Okay,
we do have the money somewhere. Doug James?
Doug has the money. He's got.
My pockets are empty.
Madam Chair,
Yes,
so my recommendation is for Todd to move forward with the 3 immediate vehicles, and then as soon as he is ready to begin working on the bid document, or I'm sorry, the bid spec through My Deal for the Sheriff's Department vehicles, with the understanding that those are budgeted for the next fiscal year. We won't turn them around immediately, but what we will do is expedite that ordering process to hopefully time it closer to the start of the new fiscal year.
all right.
That allows Todd to get the vehicles in a bit earlier and allows Doug to not have an aneurysm from worrying about paying for them.
Got it.
Thank you. We need a motion. And that, we need a motion.
Do they normally, Stephanie, do they normally do that when they're,
I would say, yeah, probably.
there you
just
go. Yeah, so yes, we'll need a motion.
Please, for the purchase.
Madam Chair, this is Commissioner Scott. I'll make a motion to what Brian, our administrator, just stated about getting the My Deal for the 3 vehicles, and also checking out the bid specs and everything for the Sheriff's Department vehicles that'll be coming up under the 2021 budget, I believe. Is that correct? Perfect.
Yes,
That's my motion, Madam Chair.
thank you. Support, please.
Commissioner Harrison, I support the motion.
Thank you. It's moved and properly supported. Any further discussion? Would you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Yarbrough,
Yes.
Commissioner Harrison,
Yes.
Commissioner Hinkleman,
Yes.
Commissioner Scott.
Yes.
Motion carried. When I look on the agenda, it says motor pool fleet purchase discussion. Did we just have it?
Yes,
We
ma'am.
did.
All right.
Great.
Thank you all. Drain Commissioner Christopher Quatrain.
If I can just hang this one second, it is almost 10 after 10, so I know that you guys gotta get to this, and I understand the importance of it, but I just wanna remember, we have to go out of this meeting and come and do a new one for the board meeting, so if we could just keep that in the back of our minds. Go ahead.
That meeting is at 10:30.
Correct.
Okay. Please.
Yeah, this goes actually, we procured a software a while back, we've been working on it. And we budgeted for the second or the next portion of this work to be done. This is coming out of 639. We went ahead and put it through the procurement process, and I was told that you guys want to have some discussion on this and where we're at, so that's why I was brought here at this meeting. But it was an amount that has been already was budgeted, and last is coming out of our 639 account, which is the drain equipment account. So it's not a charge to the county. I can give some background, but I think if you remember, because this spans back about 3 years, 3.5 years now, we've been working with this.
And so you're here for us to approve you're purchasing something, or?
Yeah, the other part of that, what we did, and Ken, you can help us, is we went through it and we were doing the development, working with the vendor. We actually identified, and we have a sheet here, and I know it's hard to see, but we identified all those issues and things that we needed to complete. There's some custom configuration, and we needed to buy another module to be able to make that happen. And that was what this purchase was for, the next phase of that purchase. And we knew this was, like I said, last year or this year, we made sure it was in our budget. It is budgeted. It's slightly less than what we budgeted at this point. But this is I call it the home stretch to kind of get this thing up going and get us off the mainframe system. So
Can I ask?
May I ask, is there someone here from IT? Ken Hoffman, are you here to talk about this also? Are you here to talk about this?
This is Chris Swihart, Director of IT. Yeah, I have Ken.
Oh, good.
Yep. Yep, Ken's on as well. So he's been the project manager to help manage this project and help our transition of these applications. As you remember, we have multiple applications we have to get off our mainframe because of the rising costs. So this is one of those 5 applications. And basically, Ken can go into the kind of the background stuff, but where we ran into a problem, I think it was in March, where it was identified that there were 2 functions that the applications would have been in development for implementation over the last couple of years. Well, actually, I started in January of, the project kickoff was March of 2019. But it was identified that the application didn't support multiple CBT records being associated with drain records, which is something that we can do today in the mainframe. And then the second issue was that the Aries Prism product didn't have the capability to run revolving fund reports, which is something that the drain uses to make sure that their data is in sync with what's in Munis. So once those issues were identified, we went back to Aries to try and see what we could do with the application to produce those items, and then they came back with this proposal. Ken, feel free to add anything that I missed there.
No, that was a good summary.
And how much? How much is this going to cost?
The proposal is for $54,662.50.
And that's to make it run. Is there an annual fee and all those kinds of things that you have to pay?
That proposal is just for their Aries work to implement this additional dashboard and the additional CBT feature. So that includes the cost of the software and then their labor to implement the feature. Now the Aries product or platform, the drain platform, will have ongoing maintenance fees, I think, that we pay every year.
Okay. But you all agree this is what needs to happen to make it work?
I agree, because we have to get off the mainframe, and these functions are something they can do today. So we have to be able to replicate those functions in any new product that's really replacing it. So I do feel that we need to go forward with this.
All right. Commissioners?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Scott.
Yes.
Just to go backwards in time a little bit, this was brought to the Finance Committee last year. It went through the budget process. It was approved in the budget process. when this request was put forward earlier this year, it came in after the COVID emergency started and we had shut down the county building.
Mm-hmm.
And if I remember correctly, the county administrator, Bill Wolf, basically put a halt to this because it wasn't essential spending, I believe, for the COVID response. But this is still something that was budgeted, so I think that this is something that should just go ahead and go forward.
Okay.
I don't think it's a big deal that we've discussed this last year. We had Chris Swihart and the drain commissioner in our meeting down the hall, and they explained why they need this to get off of the mainframe. So I think this is kind of redundant that we're doing this, but I would just think we should just approve it and let it go.
Okay. Commissioners, any other comments?
This is Commissioner Harrison. I'm okay with proceeding with the authorization.
Okay. Do we need a motion?
No, actually, so maybe what we would need to do is add this requisition to the requisition list, which would be approved by the full board at 10:30.
Yes.
So if the finance committee, we just wanted the finance committee to make sure that we're good here, and then I will add that requisition in writing probably, because now it's almost 10:30. So when that requisition list is approved today, you would have that amount on it.
Thank you. Any other questions or discussion regarding this?
Actually, at Chris Swire, you gave us a number and it's different than the requisition that I have. It's 54,000 something. Could you give that to me again, please?
$54,662.50.
Thank you. Never mind. Christopher gave it to me.
Just a side note, that the Michigan, of course, we're one of the few states that have drain commissioners. I think there's one other, New Jersey. And our law dictates a lot of how we do business, which dictates our software. A lot of there's a company out there that did have it, but they removed themselves from the business. A lot of the drain commissioners throughout the state are scrambling to try to figure out what to do. A number of years ago, when we went out for bids and started doing it, this company, which is a very large company, very large software developer, was the only one who really stepped up and says, yeah, we think we can get you there. And at that time, they were estimating the $150,000 range. And we're pretty close to that. Are we right on? No, but we're pretty close to that. And in the software world, I think we're doing pretty good. So just kind of a little sidebar show how we're running through that. And we're really close, with getting this thing up and going. Again, some of the other, we added some features too. We're going to go totally paperless. So we have a feature in there that's adding to that. And then we're also starting to work on electronic bidding. So this will help us with our electronic bidding. We've already done some runs at that too. So in the future, what it would be is that our contractors would actually go online, pull down their bids, put their bids in. We'd be able to manage it through the whole system. So it'll take us some time to get all the way through it, but we're well on that path. And I thank the board, and also IT or IS, I think you come here, for their excellent help, and support in getting through this.
Thank
Madam
you.
Chair?
Yes, Administrator Gissette.
Okay, we are right up against the clock. We've got the 10:30 start for the next meeting.
Yes.
Very, very quickly, I'm asking the Finance Committee if you all could look at your calendars for next Tuesday morning. The Drain Commissioner has a project in Waterville. There is a bond issuance that is tied to that. I'm hoping that we can reconvene the Finance Committee where if we shoot for Tuesday morning, we should have enough of a time to go through that bond issuance, the project, and hopefully work through any questions that the committee would have. Madam Chair, would 10 o'clock on Tuesday work for you and for the other board members?
I need to get a calendar that's in another room. I'm writing it down. Tuesday, what's the date? July what?
28.
1 second, ma'am.
28.
I'm going to say, I'll say yes, because we do it by Zoom?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
This is Commissioner Harrison. I'm available at that time.
Okay, good. So it's to pass.
Commissioner Scott, I'm available.
Commissioner Hinkleman?
I'm looking.
Okay.
I'm gonna say I am, but I don't have full information in front of me on under, and so I will I'll have to check, but I will say at this point in time that I am.
And how long will it take? Because I don't have my calendar, but I think I have a car appointment on that day at 11.
Madam, I don't think we need more than an hour. Hopefully, we can wrap this in 45 minutes.
All right. Okay, I say yes. Let's just do that.
Okay. I'll work with Annette and staff and the drain commissioner to get information pushed out to the committee, and then we'll send out reminders and the Zoom information.
All right.
You want the engineer or the bond counsel?
And so have we done everything in that we must do? Oh, we have to.
Yeah, I've been reaching out for public comments on YouTube, and we're good. We don't have any public comments, so I have offered that opportunity out there a couple of different times. And so we're good. We don't have any public comments.
Okay, and those requisitions, we don't vote on them, we accept them.
You don't do that here. You're gonna do that at the
10:30.
You're gonna do that at the 10:30 meeting with the requisition list. Although now that I say that, Stephanie, I think there's a couple of bid recs that were sent out to the commissioners. Is that correct?
Yeah, I said.
That was to decide whether they were gonna go out to bid or.
Bid requests. You guys got some bid requests.
And
So
I had one reply, I think, from Bob Harrison.
okay, so Bob Harrison reply. All right. I think that's it then.
So Stephanie is here, and then you're getting ready to go on vacation? Is that
I
what
came in today,
Oh,
just to see you guys.
Important stuff.
thank you.
Thank
The
you.
meeting is adjourned. We go to the next one. Okay,
Yes.
thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you.